Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Deck Tech. So today we're going to be talking about Taborax and the Altar combo. So Altar combos are very usual in EDH and Commander. Those loops are legendary. They're very well known, very popular. So how this Altar loop works is if you have Pyrex in Altar and a zombie, any zombie, then you can keep casting Gravecrawler from your graveyard indefinitely. So that means that you got infinite enter the battlefield, because what you have to do is you pay 1 mana to cast it, and then you sacrifice it to add 1 mana, and that's the mana that you're going to use to pay it again. So that's infinite enter the battlefield, infinite leave the battlefield, infinite die triggers, and also it's going to be infinite storm count because you're casting it every single time. Okay, so at the cost of 1 mana, you can do the same thing here without needing a zombie. So if you have 10 mana left, you can actually make 10 ETBs and 10 die triggers, and that's going to be very useful. If you have Tormod though, that's a zombie that's going to give you Gravecrawler potential, but then it says whenever 1 or more cards leave the graveyard, so these two leave constantly, create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. That means that every time he leaves, you create a token, and so you can sacrifice that token to net 0 with Reassembling Skeleton, or to get infinite mana with Gravecrawler, and that's a pretty good thing. Okay, so what do we do with that? Well, in the case of like I said, with these three, you're going to get net 0, or these two you're gonna get net 0. So how we use this is, well, we can actually take advantage of the enter the battlefield or die triggers or leave the battlefield by having the opponent lose 1 life, or having you draw cards, or having them destroy creatures or sacrifice creatures, like with the Grave Pact or Dictator Barabos, or any of the 10 or 12 aristocrats that there are. Okay, so we got Blood Artist, and we also have our usual storm cards, such as Tendrils of Agony and Aetherflux Reservoir, because that means that because we're casting them over and over again, we can actually storm out for the win. And last but not least is going to be the fact that if we do get that infinite mana, then we can just dump it on different things. So we have Torment of Hailfire or Exsanguinate, which are going to drain, both of them are going to drain our opponents of life. And one less known, or maybe it's just like maybe not that popular already, is going to be the Taborax. I'm not sure how to say this, but it's the Arc Lich. And what's going to happen is this guy delves into the dungeon, and so it costs 3. And if you haven't finished the dungeon that he wants, which is going to be the what? The tower? The Tomb of Annihilation. You're going to bring it back. And then he comes in, delves into the dungeon, bring him back. So if you got infinite mana, you can pay the 3 as many times as you want. And so that's going to be able to give you that infinite ETB again. And the other thing that you can do with that is how you actually win with Taborax is through these two. So you're going to cycle through this dungeon, because as long as it's not the Tomb of Annihilation, you can just keep going back into these dungeons over and over and over again. So both dungeons have a specific route that you can take, and those routes are the following. You have the cave entrance, and you can either do the red goblin or the treasure token that gives you mana, but it doesn't matter because we have infinite, and the goblin doesn't matter because we already have infinite mana. We don't need the goblin for that. It doesn't have haste. Then the storeroom. You can put a counter on a creature, doesn't matter, or target creature gets -4 on the attack, which makes everything have 0 power if you keep looping it. And finally, the one that really matters is each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life, just like the aristocrat. So this is the room that you want to get into over and over and over again. So typical one is I scry 1, create a token, drain them, then draw a card, then go back to scry 1, create a token, drain them, draw a card. Same thing is going to happen over here. Gain a life, scry a card, and then one of these two, create a token or can attack. Hey, create a treasure token. Now scry 2, and then these two, either I create a black skeleton or I can exile the top 2 cards of the library and play them. Then I scry 3, then I draw 3. Okay, so usually we do the Lost Mine because it's easier to not deck out while you're doing this combo. So you can just keep doing this guy over and over and over and over again until you drain them of life. So you are going to be gaining life too, and you have more cards in your deck that they have life usually. So if you do this, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, you do this 160 times and everyone loses 40 life. Okay, that means that you drew 40 cards in the process. That's the best way, or 120 and if you want to, right? But yeah, that's gonna be the usual route that we take, is the Lost Mine of Pandover. And so, yep, that's gonna be it for the altar loops. So let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you guys have pulled this out before. It's a really cool combo, and it's very overused for the Gravecrawler, but the win cons are very well known, and they work regardless of you having the loop. Okay, so Torment of Hailfire for 10 is devastating. So, you know, it loses 3 life 10 times. That's terrible. And yeah, so Exsanguinate is the same. Everyone losing 10 life or 20 life. That's terrible. But hey, if you accrue enough mana and you're playing from the graveyard, everything, so everything's just coming back and forth, you're not really using the mana to cast cards on hand. You can just dump it somewhere, and suddenly you get one of these two, and it's not game over, but it's still really good. Same with these. Maybe these are play extenders. They're not really the win con, but because you don't have these parts, there's still such good value that people are either going to die to this or they are going to want to get rid of them, which is great. So when you do get the combo, then they can't get rid of that. So yeah, that's kind of how this deck works. I hope you enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments what you enjoyed it. Which one do you like the most? You have a Reassembling Skeleton, a Gravecrawler, and which one do you like the most? You have the ETVs and you have the Mana Dumps. Okay, so comment that, and yeah, like, share, subscribe, and follow for more. So I will see you on the next one. Peace out.